Alright guys, so I'm leaving the PDF of this document, which is actually from the College Board AP website, in my school wires, but I just want to emphasize the importance of this. During the actual semester, when we were saying that a sign chart on its own is not okay for justification, we weren't just being mean or bullies or silly, okay? It's actually AP's policy. So read the document. You can either read it here by pausing the video, or you can just download the PDF, or view the PDF, but make sure you understand that AP is saying that they appreciate sign charts. They think that they're wonderful, but they decided back in 2005 that a sign chart on its own is not going to be enough to show local extrema, or for sure not absolute extrema. So they talk about the first derivative test, and that sign charts are great, but that you need to verbally explain them as well. I think there was just too much variation in the way people were writing out their sign charts. So they say that a labeled sign chart is not going to be enough sufficient justification, and they want you to recognize that there's a change in F prime from negative to positive. So you don't need to go with this elaborate explanation, but a simple F prime goes from negative to positive instead of just writing it on the sign chart. Okay. Second derivative test is where I talk about if my function's concave up and I have a horizontal tangent, I've got a local min. Concave down, horizontal tangent is the local max. So again, it's just to state those things in writing instead of just having it be visible on a sign chart. You need to verbally state it. Okay, and then the last major point that they give is about absolute extrema. Okay, if you have a single critical point, you can use a sign chart type justification of and you'll see here they talk about for all and for all. So I can say that F prime is negative for all x less than negative a half, and F prime is positive for all x greater than negative a half, and that would justify, because I have a single critical point, that I would have an absolute minimum at x equals negative 1/2, okay? And if I have a single critical point, I can do this sign chart explanation with that verbiage of for all, and get away with showing absolute extrema that way. If I have two critical points or more, then I have to consider the value of the function at the critical points and at the endpoints for absolute extrema. Okay, and then AP gives you some specific examples, which you can browse through. Okay, so here was one from 1987, so it's going way back, but you see that this is not okay. You say this, and you are golden. Okay, let's look at another one. Here they're talking about second derivative test from a 2002 for response, and they have a situation where you would be required to use second derivative test, and here's their explanation. Since the first derivative is 0, which we can write F prime equals 0, we don't need to write the first derivative is 0, we can just write F prime equals 0, and the second derivative positive, we can just write F double prime is greater than 0, and then we could even draw a picture. So F double prime greater than 0 means I'm concave up, and horizontal tangent is what I get from here, and so I have a local minimum, okay, and then they talk about that. So browse through it. Here's a position, velocity, acceleration problem, and they ask the car's absolute maximum velocity, okay, and then here's a situation where it's absolute extrema, and I have multiple critical points, which means I need to find the values of the function at critical points and endpoints, okay? Once you have more than one critical point, you need to find the values of the functions at the critical points and at the endpoints, okay? There's no way that you can do a F prime changes from, or V prime changes from positive to negative kind of explanation here. Okay, you need to do better than that. Okay, and here's one where I'm asked for an absolute minimum, but there is only one single critical point, and that's why it's okay. And that you see, okay, first of all, it's okay to do a sign chart type style explanation, okay, not sign chart on its own, but a sign chart style explanation with F prime changing from positive to negative for this problem, because there's only one critical point, and you see this language, and they've bolded it themselves for the for alls, okay? So the derivative, you could just write F prime is less than 0 for all x less than negative a half, and F prime is greater than 0 for all x greater than negative 1/2, and that's enough. okay, because it's the only critical value. Okay, so that is AP's opinion, and that's what you guys have to go by on your exam. So make sure that you understand the different types of explanations that you're going to need to give.